The Pittsburgh Steelers are going to destroy the Cleveland Browns this Sunday at 1 p.m. There's no doubt in my mind. If you're a betting man, whether you want to take the Steelers with the spread or money line it, the Steelers are going to come in pissed off, and they're going to absolutely steamroll the Cleveland Browns. They don't stand a chance. You know, the last time they played, I'm not going to talk about the snow. Yes, that was a factor somewhat, but let's lay off that. They played the Browns on a short week. They played the Ravens. They won the game. It's a physical, mentally draining, physically draining football game. Timing is everything. The Cleveland Browns just happened to catch the Steelers at the right time during their last contest. And this time around, the Browns are catching the Steelers at the wrong time. Remember what's coming up into the near distant future. So I believe that the Steelers will defeat the Baltimore Ravens in the upcoming game. They have Lamar Jackson's number, but the Kansas City Chief game on Christmas is going to be a very difficult game to win. Again, it's the same circumstance. The same thing. You play your most physical divisional opponent in the Baltimore Ravens. It's a violent, physical, mentally and physically, spiritually draining matchup. You got to come around on a short week and play the Chiefs. And all the critics of mine and the critics of the Steelers will say, well, the Chiefs, they're on a short week too. But here's the difference. Prior to that game, the Steelers are playing their biggest rival. It's known throughout the league and in football and the NFL and ESPN and everywhere that the Steelers and the Ravens is the most physical matchup in all of NFL football. So, that being said, the Steelers are going to absolutely dominate the Cleveland Browns. Russell Wilson is going to go over 250 yards, have 2 touchdowns. George Pickens is going to have 8 receptions for about 114 yards and a touchdown. Jameis Winston is going to throw a pick 6. Mark my words. TJ Watt will rebound. He's going to have 2 sacks. The defense in total will have 4 sacks. 4. But I predict that TJ Watt will have 2 sacks. George Pickens, I'm not saying he's going to get thrown out of the game. I don't think it'll go that far. But he is going to do something stupid. No doubt about it. Maybe not the first drive. I could see the whole game where he doesn't do anything stupid. And then when the Steelers are absolutely dominating the Browns, maybe after the game, you know, he tells them they suck. He throws the ball at them. Whatever he's going to do. But it's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's not going to happen to the same extent last week with the penalties. But George will be George. He's going to rub it in their face, meaning the Browns, that they're terrible. And pushing, shoving, fisticuffs, it's going to go down. No doubt in my mind, it's going to go down. It's going to be interesting. The Steelers have a lot to think about this offseason with George Pickens. You know, he's a double-edged sword. And it's a tough double-edged sword to decipher. What George Pickens are we going to get? The talent, I'm not going to get it. Anybody who debates his talent, you just sound moronic. The things that George Pickens can do with his body, the twisting, the turning, he defies gravity. He's an amazing athlete. But every time you pick up a first down and you're in a heated rivalry game, like with the Bengals, and you throw the ball at somebody or you get penalized for taunting, what good is a big play guy every time if he makes a big play if he gets flagged? And don't say, well, it can't happen every time. It just did. What are you talking about? Every single week from the Cowboys game on, he's been doing something. So don't tell me it can't happen every week because it's been happening every week. And then I don't want to hear I'm a George Pickens hater. I'm not a George Pickens hater. I'm a George Pickens truth teller about his mentality, his attitude, how he needs to grow up. George, take my advice if you see this video. Be Cam Hayward. Be Minka. Be TJ Watt. I'm not saying you have to change your style. No, I'm not saying you have to become them as a person. That's not what I'm saying. But they realize the opportunity. They realize that you can only play for so long. They embrace the community in Pittsburgh. They embrace this once-in-a-lifetime, beautiful opportunity that they have, and they soak every moment of it in, whether they're playing well or bad. None of them really play bad. I just had to throw that in there. But they embrace every second of it. I'm not saying that you don't, but the way that you come across, first of all, when you're doing an interview, hold on a minute. These guys are all about the money all the time. Money. I want to make the most money. I want to do commercials. I want to go to Hollywood. I want to do this. I want to do that. Well, take my advice, George. Take the hood off your head. Speak directly into the microphone. Whether you like a question or not, just answer the question. If you don't like the question, just say no comment. Let's go to the next question. Be a professional, George. It'll take you. Saquon Barkley. Look, I don't like the Eagles whatsoever, but anytime I talk about football, I always bring up Saquon Barkley. This is a guy who I don't think the league. First of all, let me get this out of the way. The league never does enough for Steeler players. You don't even hear about TJ Watt. You don't hear about Minka. You don't hear about Cam. We are in a forgotten land that nobody gives a you-know-what about except for us. But let's take someone like Saquon when he was with the Giants in New York. There's somebody the league could have really rallied around to promote even more, and they didn't. The way he conducts himself, the way he talks, his press conferences, when things ain't going good, when things are going bad, I really like the way he carries himself. Would have been a great Steeler. Would have looked great in black and gold. But hey, we have Najee. I'm grateful. I love Najee. I love his attitude. His team first. Let me stick to the topic. George, if you want to make the most amount of money, take the hood off your head. Take the gum out of your mouth. Porter last week with the toothpick in his mouth after the game doing interviews. Come on, guys. Come on. Stand at the podium and be a professional. Let's watch what George had to say about this upcoming matchup with the Cleveland Browns.
Plays in the game. So I'm not sure.
George, do you have any concerns that the guys, the opponents, think maybe get under your skin for both overreactions or like overreactions, stuff like that?
No.
Why are you not concerned?
Can't.
How can the flex?
Playing hard. You playing hard, and the league have to target your back. You possibly. I'm not saying 100%, but you possibly could get flags.
Do you feel like you have a target on your
I don't know. Like I said,
Smart answer.
Just out here playing like everyone.
Do you feel like
Said after the game, you didn't think it was a very good team at all. After watching the film, you stand by that.
I just go about a record.
George, do you worry about giving a team with that kind of record extra motivation?
I don't know what motivates them. I'm just focused on what we do.
does them having, not a great record make them a more dangerous team at times?
Like I said, I'm not focused on them. I'm focused on what the Steelers do.
Last one, guys.
You think we'll talk to Vegas at all today before the game? I mean, anything?
I don't even know who that is.
Now, I have no problem with that interview that George just did. He answered the questions the way he should have answered them. No big deal. I always stick up for the media because without the media, the players wouldn't make the amount of money that they make. But here's the one problem. Now they're trying to bait George. And the reason why they're trying to bait George is because of George. Do you feel you have a target on your back? I like his answer. But Tomlin also started that. George knows he has a target on his back. If you're saying that about the league, that's because of George. If you're saying that with other teams. Yeah, that's because of George. That's because the things he does and says. No big deal. It's a competitive game. I don't care about that. But let's not turn it into that George is not at fault for that alleged target on his back. Again, I don't have a problem with that interview whatsoever. George, take the hood off your head. Speak into the microphone. Don't get baited. You know, now the media, they know they can get a quick story if we can get George to say something stupid and they have something to write about. So you're kind of in a no-win situation, but just handle it like a professional. Handle it like Cam. Handle it like TJ. Handle it like Minka, like Russ. Guys that have been through a hell of a lot more than you. You're only 2 years in. I want to see you be better than Hines Ward. I want to see you get that big contract. You have $100 million hanging over your head right now, George. $100 million. Easily. What am I talking about? It's probably even more than that. And the only person that can mess that up is you. So here's how I feel. If you're a betting man, if you take the spread, you money line the game. The Steelers, everything is timing. The Steelers are going to absolutely manhandle the Cleveland Browns. They're going to come in this week. They're going to play pissed off, fast, and physical, and they're going to shut the Browns. This talk that the Browns are even on the same level as them. It's going down this Sunday at 1 p.m. AFC North matchup with the most physically dominating team in the entire NFL, the Pittsburgh Steelers.